In the desperate summer of 1941, the world held its breath. Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, was a blitzkrieg of terrifying efficiency. Panzer divisions sliced through defenses, pushing ever closer to the heart of Russia. Leningrad, the city of Peter the Great, was in their sights. The German Army Group North was relentless, a steel juggernaut, seemingly impossible to stop. But on a quiet crossroads near Krasnogorsk, history was about to witness one of the most incredible David versus Goliath stories of the entire war. This is the story of one tank, one commander, and one battle that defied all logic. The date was August 20th, 1941. The mission was simple, yet suicidal. 5 heavily armored Soviet KV-1 tanks from the 1st Tank Division were ordered to defend the approaches to Krasnogorsk. Among them was Senior Lieutenant Zinovy Kolobanov, a seasoned veteran of the Winter War. He wasn't a rookie. He knew tank combat, and he knew his machine. The Klim Voroshilov 1 was a beast. With its thick armor, it was nearly impervious to the German anti-tank guns and smaller tank cannons of the era. But it was still just one tank. Kolobanov was given a critical position. His KV-1, hull number 864, was to guard 3 roads converging near a state farm in the village of Oy. He had to choose his ground carefully. This wasn't about a glorious charge. This was about survival and attrition. Kolobanov surveyed the terrain. He saw a swampy, soft ground on either side of the main road. Perfect. Any German vehicles trying to leave the road would get bogged down, turning them into sitting ducks. He devised a brilliant plan. He would dig his tank in, creating a hull-down position that hid most of his KV-1, leaving only the turret exposed. This made an already tough tank an even smaller, harder target. He positioned his tank about 300 meters from a sharp turn in the road. The German column would have to slow down, presenting their vulnerable side armor to his gun. He briefed his crew: Gunner Andrei Yusov, driver Nikolai, Nikiforov, loader Nikolai Rodenkov, and radio operator Pavel Kiselkov. Every man knew his role. The way began. Hours passed under the late summer sun. Then, the rumble. In the distance, a column of German panzers appeared. Not just a few tanks, but an entire armored spearhead. It was the German 1st Panzer Division. The lead vehicles were Panzer IS and IS, light and medium tanks that were no match for the KV-1's 76mm cannon. Kolobanov let them get close, too close for comfort. His heart must have been pounding, but his orders to the crew were ice cold. Do not fire. Let them all pass the crossroads. Wait for my command. The lead German tank rolled past his hidden position, then another, and another. The entire column of 22 tanks snaked its way down the road, right into the kill zone. Kolobanov waited until the last tank in the column was in his sights. Then, the order came. Fire! The 76mm cannon roared to life. The first shot slammed into the rear tank, engulfing it in flames. The escape route was blocked. Then, Yusov traversed the turret to the front of the column. Asekon sought another explosion. The lead tank was destroyed. The German column was trapped. Panic erupted. The German tanks were caught in a perfect bottleneck. Unable to move forward or back, they were bumper to bumper on a narrow road, surrounded by marshland. They desperately tried to locate the source of the fire, but Kolobanov's KV-1 was perfectly concealed. They fired blindly into the woods, their shells whistling harmlessly past the dug-in Soviet tank. Kolobanov's crew worked like a well-oiled machine. Gunner, the one with the cross on its side. Fire, one by one. Andrei Yusov picked off the trapped panzers. The loader, Nikolai Rodenkov, worked feverishly, ramming shell after shell into the breach. The air inside the turret was thick with smoke and the smell of cordite. German shells hammered against the KV-1's turret, the sound like a giant striking an anvil. The crew counted the hits: 10, 20, 50, over 100 impacts. But the thick armor held. Inside, the crew was shaken but unharmed. The Germans, desperate, tried to maneuver off the road, just as Kolobanov predicted. their tanks immediately bogged down in the soft, swampy ground, becoming immobile targets. The slaughter continued. In just over 30 minutes of intense, brutal combat, Kolobanov's single KV-1 had destroyed all 22 German tanks in the column. But the battle wasn't over. After decimating the armored column, Kolobanov noticed German anti-tank guns being towed into position. He ordered his driver to change positions, moving TKB-1 out of its entrenchment to engage this new threat. He systematically destroyed the enemy artillery pieces along with their crews and accompanying infantry. During this phase of the battle, the KV-1 took more hits. A shell finally disabled its turret, jamming it. Undeterred, Kolobanov ordered his driver, Nikolai Nikiforov, to maneuver the entire tank, aiming the main gun by turning the hull. Even with a crippled turret, they continued the fight. After the smoke cleared, the tally was astonishing. Kolobanov's tank had destroyed 22 tanks and 2 anti-tank guns. In total, the 5 KV-1 south of his company destroyed 43 enemy tanks that day. Kolobanov's KV-1 had sustained an incredible 156 hits, but none had penetrated its primary armor. The paint was scorched. The hull was pocked with craters, but the tank and its crew had survived. The impact of this single engagement was immense. It temporarily halted the German 1st Panzer Division's advance on Krasnogvardisk, buying precious time for the defenders of Leningrad to strengthen their lines. It was a stunning tactical victory and a massive morale boost for the Red Army at a time when they desperately needed one. The story of Kolobanov's stand became a legend, a testament to tactical genius, superior equipment, and the sheer grit of a well-trained crew. For his actions, Zinovy Kolobanov was recommended for the highest Soviet honor, Hero of the Soviet Union. While he was ultimately awarded the Order of the Red Banner, his legacy was secured. The Battle of Wojskowice remains one of the most successful tank ambushes in military history. It demonstrated the lethal potential of the KV-1 tank and proved that even against overwhelming odds, a clever strategy and unshakable courage could change the course of a battle. A single tank in the right place, at the right time, with the right commander, could be worth an entire army. Thank you for watching. If you found this piece of history as incredible as we did, make sure to like,